Daf Yomi, Tractate Zevachim, page 86b. Top of the page, the words Benahani Mili. The Mishnah teaches that before midnight, such limbs should be returned to the altar, meaning limbs that were hardened limbs that were dried by the fire and have not yet been reduced to ash. The Mishnah teaches that before midnight, such limbs should be returned to the altar. The Gemara asks, from where is this matter derived, that midnight determines whether or not they shall be returned. Amarav, katuv echad omer kol halayla, v'hiktir v'katuv echad omer kol halayla. Rav says, one verse states, all night, and he shall burn the burnt offering, which indicates that there is a mitzvah to burn the limbs of a burnt offering all night. As the verse states, it is the burnt offering on the pyre upon the altar all night until the morning, Leviticus 6:2. And one verse states, all night until the morning, and he shall remove the ashes that the fire has consumed of the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar, Leviticus 6:2-3, which indicates that one may remove the ashes at any time during the night, including the limbs of a burnt offering that were already hardened by the fire. How can these texts be reconciled? Chalkeihu chetzio lehaktara v'chetzio leharama. Rav explains, divide the night into two parts. Half of the night, meaning until midnight, is designed for the mitzvah of burning, and during this time that which is dislodged from the altar shall be returned, and half of the night, meaning after midnight, is designated for removing. או סמוך לו בלפניו או מאחריו ביום הכיפורים בחצות ברגלים באשמורס הראשונה ויסוף אלייך מחצות דרייסה הכי מקדמינן והכי מאחרינן. With regard to Rav's assertion that one may begin to remove the ashes only after midnight, Rav Kahana raises an objection from a Mishnah in Yoma 20. Every day the priests would remove the ashes from the altar and place them on the east side of the ramp at the rooster's crow, or close to the time of its crowing, whether before it or after it, as there was no insistence on a precise time. On Yom Kippur, they would remove the ashes at midnight. On the festivals, the ashes were removed even earlier, at the end of the first watch. Rav Kahana concludes his objection, and if it enters your mind that the proper time for removing the ashes by Torah law is from midnight, how do we advance the removal of the ashes on the festivals, and how do we delay their removal the rest of the year? Ela amar Rabbi Yochanan bimashma shenema kol halayla ein yodea she'ad haboker ma tav lo omer ad haboker ten boker levako shel halayla. Rather, Rabbi Yochanan says the proper time of the removal of the ashes is based on the following: from the fact that it is stated with regard to the burning of the limbs all night, Leviticus 6:2. Don't I know that he may burn a burnt offering until the morning? If so, what is the meaning when the verse states until the morning? It means add another morning to the morning of the night. Arise before dawn, as that is the time for the removal of the ashes. Nevertheless, there is no specific hour fixed to performing this removal, and one may remove the ashes from the beginning of the night. Hilkach kol yoma mikros hagever sagi beyom הכיפורים נשום חוש דכהן גדול מחצות ברגלים, ונפישי קורבנוס, דיקד מיעשו ישראל, משמור עשר ראשונה. כי דיקתני סיפה, לא הייסה קריאס, הגבר, מגעס עד שהייסה עזרה מלאה מישראל. Therefore, every day, performing the removal at the rooster's crow is sufficient. On Yom Kippur, due to the weakness of the high priest, who must perform the entire temple service on that day, they would hasten to remove the ashes from midnight. On the festivals, during which there are many offerings on account of the masses of Jewish people in Jerusalem on those days, who, in order to offer their sacrifices, would arrive early at the temple, they would remove the ashes beginning from the end of the first watch, as the Mishnah teaches in the latter clause in Yom 28. The call of the rooster would not arrive on festivals until the temple courtyard was filled with Jews. Itmar pershu koydem chatzois ve'achziron achar chatzois Rabba Amar. The Gemara previously explained the Mishnah as saying that limbs that were hardened by the fire but not entirely consumed are not returned to the altar if they were dislodged from it after midnight, since the mitzvah of burning has been performed and the limbs are considered to have been entirely consumed. It was stated that Amoraim engaged in a dispute concerning the following matter. In the case of limbs that separated from upon the altar before midnight and were returned after midnight, whereby the mitzvah of burning was not completed by midnight, Rabbah says,